that.
I don't see any need for behaving like children here.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. We were all notified by mail to come down to this place and decide on the guilt or the innocence of a man we have not known before. We have nothing to gain by the verdict. This is why we are strong. We should not make it a personal thing.
Well, we're still nowhere. Anybody got an idea?
How about another vote, Miss Warner?
It's all right with me. Anybody doesn't want to vote?
Right? Let's do it.
I want an open ballot. Let's call out our votes. I want to know who stands where.
All right, sounds fair. Does anyone object? I'll call up your jury numbers. I vote guilty. Number 2,
Not guilty.
number 3,
Guilty.
number 4, guilty. Number 5,
Not guilty.
number 6,
Not guilty.
number 7, guilty. Number 8,
Not guilty.
number 9,
Not guilty.
number 10, guilty. Number 11,
Not guilty.
number 12,
Guilty.
6 to 6.
The crime is being committed right here in this room.
The vote is 6 to 6.
I'm ready to walk into court right now and declare a hung jury. There's no point in this going on any longer.
I go for that too. Let's take it to the judge and let the kid take his chances with 12 other people.
You mean you still don't think there's room for reasonable doubt?
No, I don't.
Perhaps you do not know the meaning of reasonable doubt.
What do you mean I don't know the meaning? How do you like this guy? He comes over here running for his life, and before he can even take a big breath, he's telling us how to run the show. The arrogance of him.
Wait a second. Nobody around here is asking where you came from
I was born right here.
or where your father came from. It wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from the people who came running here. Maybe they learned something. We're not so perfect.
It's okay. I'm
It's
used to
not
this.
okay.
Okay, I apologize. Is that what you want?
That's what I want.
Stop all the arguing. Who's got something constructive to say?
Well, something's been bothering me a little. The whole business about the stab wound and how it was made. The downward angle of it, you know?
Don't tell me we're going to start on that again. They went over and over in court.
I know they did, but I don't go along with it. The boy is 5 feet 8 inches tall. His dad's 6 feet 2 inches. And right there is a difference of 6 inches. And it's very awkward thing to step downward into the chest if someone who's half a foot taller than you are.
All right. You won't be satisfied until you see this for yourself. So I'll give a demonstration. Someone stand up. Uh-oh. All right, now is this 6 inches?
That's more than 6 inches.
All right, let it be more.
Look out! Are you? It's not funny! What's the matter with you?
Oh, calm down. Nobody's hurt, are they?
No, nobody's hurt.
All right, there you go. There's your angle. Down and in. That's how I'd stab a taller man, and that's how it was done. Look at it and tell me I'm wrong.
Down and in. I guess there's no argument.
Have you ever stabbed a man?
Of course not.
Have you?
Come on, let's not be silly.
Have you?
No, I haven't.
Then where do you get all your information about how it's done?
What do you mean? It's just common sense.
I'd like to ask you something. Now this boy, he was an experienced knife fighter. He was even sent to reform school for knifing someone. Isn't that so?
That's right.
Doesn't this seem like an odd way to handle a knife?
What are you asking me for?
Wait a second. Let me see that.
Have you ever seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies?
In my backyard, on my stoop, in the vacant lot across the street, too many of them. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I live. Anyone who has ever had any experience with a switch knife never would have sung downward like that. It's just not handled that way. You use it underhand.
Then he could not have made the type of wound that killed his father.
No, not if he's had any experience with a knife.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, you're giving us a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
What do you think?
I don't know.
What about you,
Okay, now listen. I'll tell you something. I'm getting a little sick of this whole thing already. We're getting nowhere fast. Let's just break it up and go home. I'm changing my vote to not guilty.
You're what?
You heard me. I've had enough.
What do you mean you've had enough? That's no answer.
Perhaps he is right. This is not an answer. You have sat in this room and voted guilty with everybody else because your husband has some theater tickets burning a hole in his pocket, and now you're changing your vote for the exact same reason? You are playing with a man's life. This is an ugly and terrible thing to do.
Now, wait a minute. You can't talk like that to me.
I can talk like that to you. If you're going to vote guilty, then do so because you believe he is guilty. If you're going to vote not guilty, then do so because you believe he is innocent.
Now, listen.
Is it guilty or not guilty?
I told you not guilty.
Why?
I don't have to.
Yes, you do. Is it guilty or not guilty?
I don't think he's guilty.
I want another vote.
Okay, there's another vote called for. I guess the quickest way is by a show of hands. Everyone agree? All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. Nine for not guilty. Guilty? 3. The vote is 9-3 in favor of acquittal.
I can't understand you people. How can you believe this boy is innocent? You know how those people lie. I don't have to tell you. They don't know what the truth is. And let me tell you something. They don't need any real big reason to kill somebody either. You know, they get drunk and bang. Someone's lying in the gutter. Nobody's blaming them. Where are you going? Look, human life don't mean as much to us as it does to them. What are you doing? They're fighting and killing people, and if somebody gets killed, so somebody gets killed. They don't care. I'm speaking my piece, and you listen to me. Take it from me. This boy on trial, they're bad news. They're all bad news. What are you doing? I'm only trying to tell you something.
I've heard enough. If you say one more word, I'm going to split your skull.
I'm only trying to tell you something.
All right, sit down, everybody. I still believe the boy is guilty of murder, and I'll tell you why. To me, the most damning evidence was given by the woman across the street, who claimed she saw the murder committed.
Exactly. As far as I'm concerned, that's the most important testimony.
All right, what exactly did she say?
I believe I can recount it correctly. The woman said she went to bed about 11 o'clock that night. Her bed was next to an open window, and when she lay facing the window, she could see directly into the window across the street. She said she tossed and turned for over an hour and a little to fall asleep, when finally, around 12:10, she turned toward the open window and saw the boy stab his father. This is unshakable testimony.
That's what I mean. There's the whole case.
Frankly, I don't see how you can vote for acquittal. What do you think?
Well, maybe.
Look, I don't know. There's just so much evidence.
Maybe? What do you mean, maybe? She's absolutely right. You can throw out all the other evidence.
And that's exactly how I felt.
What time is it?
It's 10 to 6.
It's late. You're supposed to let us go home early and finish in the morning. I've got a queue at the mall.
Not a chance.
Excuse me, but can't you see the clock without your glasses?
Not clearly. Why?
Well, I've been thinking. I mean, what do you do when you wake up in the middle of the night and you want to know what time it is?
What do you mean? I put on my glasses and I look at the clock.
Well, you don't wear them in bed.
Of course not. No one wears eyeglasses to bed.
What's all this for? Well, I've been thinking. You know, the woman who testified wears glasses.
So does my grandmother. So what?
Your grandmother isn't a murder witness.
Well, stop me if I'm wrong, but this woman wouldn't wear her glasses in bed, would she?
Wait a minute. Did she wear glasses at all? I don't remember.
Yes, she did. They're very, very thick. Bifocals, I believe.
That's right. Bifocals. She never took them off.
Funny. She did wear glasses. I never thought of it.
Well, she wasn't wearing them in bed, that's for sure. Now, like you said, she testified that in the midst of her tossing and turning, she rolled over and casually looked out of the window. And the murder was taking place as she looked out, and the lights went out a split second later. She couldn't have had time to put on her glasses. Maybe she honestly thought she saw the boy kill his father, but I'd say she saw only a blur.
How do you know what she saw? Maybe she's farsighted. How does he know all these things?
Does anyone still think there is not a reasonable doubt?
I think the boy's guilty.
Does anyone else?
No, I'm convinced.
You're alone.
I don't care whether I'm alone. I have a right.
You have a right.
So what else do you want?
Your arguments?
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We're waiting to hear them again. We have time.
What's the matter with you? You were the one. You made all the arguments. This kid's guilty. A murderer is going to be walking the streets. Come on, stay with me.
I'm sorry. There's a reasonable doubt in my mind.
We're waiting.
Well, you're not going to intimidate me. I have a right to my opinion. It's going to be a hung jury. That's it.
And there's nothing we can do about that. Except hope that some night, maybe in a few months, you'll get some sleep.
You're all alone.
It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.